Hey guys, I've got Sean and Brittany Krasnerick. They are amazing members and leaders inside of our community. We're going to be talking about a deal that you guys are working on. And it's one of these deals where people don't believe they really exist. Okay. And we're going to get into it. Basically, it's a deal where you put no money down and the seller gave you 0% seller finance. Now, when I'm brand new and I'm hearing this stuff and I go, okay, I got it. I'm watching Pace's YouTube channel. He's got people that started with money, started with credit. They've been doing real estate for 10 years before they got that deal. I'm going to tune out because there's no possible way this is for me. So Sean, Brittany, what was your guys' journey getting into real estate? Was it really easy for you? You read half of a book and then you got like 15 deals. What was your journey?
I was working far away. I would go about 2 hour drive every day. I just knew I wanted to do something different. The funny thing is we were getting ready to have our daughter and we were taking our son to our sister's house.
Like driving to the hospital, not preparing, like driving to the hospital.
And up the street from my sister was my grandmother's house, which was up for sale. So I'm like, let's buy this house and just rent it out. And Britt said, let's have our baby first and then we'll figure it out from there. So like a couple days go by, I talked to a buddy of mine who invests, and he suggested to read Rich Dad Poor Dad, which the only book I've ever read in my life is Rich Dad Poor Dad. I read it cover to cover, came home every day, told her about it. And that's whenever she kind of got on board, because normally I come home and have wacky ideas all the time about stuff we want to do. So then she read it, and we just started going from there, looking for deals, trying to figure out what our angle we were going to go at.
Yeah, we just wanted to buy a house. I was like, if we can buy a house that we can afford the bills on, even if we screw everything else up, then we'll figure the rest out along the way. And I just started calling. I had no idea how to finance. This was way before I knew creative. I just started calling banks that did our mortgage. I said, hey, I want to buy a rental property. What do I got to do? And I called everybody. I called realtors. I joined a local meetup. He got involved. He really was like the forefront of making us. I was not interested at first. And then once I got, the bug of, I guess I would say, is when we really started taking off, and we just went, found a house and bought it.
Yeah, we took our daughter. Our daughter was 6 months old when we bought our first house. She was laying in her bouncer while we're ripping off wallpaper and painting walls and trying to get everything going. It was just
Man, I hope you guys took photos of that. Did you guys take photos of like your daughter hanging out while you're doing demo and stuff?
Every angle that we could get.
Yeah, her older brother was like attacking her while we were working on it all the time.
I would love for people watching this on YouTube to actually be able to see that, because a lot of people just think very romantically about real estate. Like you just know all the things and then you get started. You got started and then you learned the things on the job. Like how do we do this? How do we do this? How do we do this? Local meetups. You basically became incredibly resourceful. So Brittany, you just sound like resourceful is the number one thing about you. You're gonna go find the resource, extract everything you possibly can out of it, and you're gonna make it happen.
Yeah, we didn't really have any other choice. He was working 12-hour days when we bought our first house, and I had a newborn and a 2-year-old, and we were like, we just got to figure this out if we want to make it happen.
She posted our first rental up for rent, and she got like 50 responses in 10 minutes. She called me at work almost in tears because she had no idea what to do and how to respond to all these people. And then she took it down and then put it back up and was like, okay, I'm ready. Took a breath and was on emails the rest of the day.
You know what is so funny is that people think that real estate's going to be somewhat easy. It's very, very much not. But you're essentially trading one thing for another thing. And here's what you're trading. You're trading problems that are applicable problems, real things like, I don't know how to deal with tenants. I don't know how to screen people. I have 50 people reaching out to me to rent this property, is a problem that you don't know how to handle. Yet there's another problem. And another problem is the one you exchanged. And that problem is, how do I get started? Right? So many people get stuck with that problem. How do I get started? How do I do the thing? How do I get momentum? You just were like, I don't care. I'm going to go find new problems that I can overcome that are applicable, meaning you can apply information to them, or you can learn through doing, which sounds like, Brittany, you probably figured that out about yourself. You're very much like me. I can't learn anything unless I am actually doing the thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you can overanalyze forever and ever and ever. And it's like, we just say, okay, what's the absolute worst case scenario that can happen in the situation? And if we can figure out a way to get out of it, then we'll figure the rest out on the way and hope that that doesn't happen.
Sean, that's so great that you got a wife like that. I have a lot of people that their spouse is so afraid of anything that they keep them from getting in real estate. Brittany and you guys are a really great match because it's like, hey, we're going to do this thing. I read this book. Brittany's like, great, let's do this. Let's wait until we have the baby, but let's do this. And I'm going to start making the calls. I'm going to start doing the thing. What a great freaking couple you guys are. So you start doing deals, which is great. You got through that. You felt the pain. You felt the anguish. You tasted blood. You now are like addicted to this thing. How did you find this deal that you actually, Brittany, I saw it was either a comment, a post or something, maybe a DM that you sent me. And I was like, oh my gosh, we have to do a YouTube video about that because people don't believe that 0 down, 0% seller finance deals are even possible. And they think people are full of crap that say it. So this deal, which I want to get into, how did you find this deal in the first place?
We have a couple acres, and my mower was kind of on the fritz, and I needed a new one. Somebody I know worked for a local dealer, so I reached out to him and I said, "Hey, come out, tell me what I'm looking for, or what size you think I need. Probably like a 0 turn that's gonna be able to handle the hills." So he comes out, gives me an analysis, and he's sitting there and he's like distraught, and I'm like, "Well, what's up?" And he was like, "Oh, my parents, they keep on having me come over every weekend, and we're moving and moving and moving." I'm like, "Well, where are they moving to?" He's like, "All right, they already bought a house. They just haven't done anything with their house. So it's all the stuff that's left over." I was like, "Oh, well, we buy houses." I was like, "Give them my number, and as a thank you to you, we offer $1,000 as a referral fee." And he was like, "Oh, that's awesome." So he went home, called his parents. They looked us up, followed our Facebook, our Instagram, and reached out to us. And then Britt set up the meeting with them.
Yeah. So we did it very old fashioned. It was literally a kitchen table, deal analysis, I guess I would say. Basically what we do when we go out and meet with people is we tell them, hey, we're going to give you a couple different options for how we can buy your house. And then you tell us which one works best for you. And if one works, great. If not, then we have some great people we can refer you to. And, we send them to a realtor that's our friend or whoever, so that we're always providing value to them. And as we walk through the house, we'll point out things that need repaired and whatnot. And then when I sit down, I say, okay, here's a couple different ways we buy. Number one is cash, and cash is easy, but you're usually not going to get it as high of a price. And then there's a different way that we can buy, and that's with something called seller financing. And then I tell them the nice thing about that is that, we're cutting out the middleman and we can get more money in your pocket. And I go through usually like a long-term scenario and then a short-term, depending on, I knew we were going to flip this house, so doing a long-term didn't really make sense. And I just broke down the numbers for them and I said, this is how we can get you more money. And, then I think we did what they were initially going to go with, a 7-year term or something like that.
Yeah, they were going to go a little bit longer, but with some health issues that they were having, a little older couple, they actually were like, you know what, guys, we're going to take the cash offer originally. And I just said, is there any chance you can give us at least some time to just get our money out of it? And they were open to that. So then Britt got back on the phone and renegotiated with them. So we got a lower term or lower years. But we got basically a seller finance house for $400 a month that we're flipping. That's all our cost is.
So good. This is basically a seller finance to retail exit. So you guys are buying the property, or you already bought the property on seller finance. Mm-hmm. You're paying the seller $411 a month, which is principal only?
Yes.
My gosh. Okay. You originally went to the seller and you said, all right, we want to give you an offer. The seller says, well, we want a cash offer because we want the money right now. We've got health issues. We want to make sure we have money in the bank. So we don't want to do a 7-year balloon. We don't want to wait 7 years because originally it sounded like what you guys were wanting to do is a rental. You wanted to buy it. You wanted to rent it. You wanted to have it for 7 years so you could refinance them out at some point in 7 years. Once the property went up in value, you could raise the rents a couple of times over the 7 years. Obviously, you get your benefit. You give them a lot more money. The sellers come to you and go, no, we don't want 7 years because we're getting older and we just want our money. And so Brittany and you go back to the table and you go, okay, great. Why don't we meet somewhere in the middle where we will give you your money way faster than 7 years, but it still gives us time to renovate the property, put it on the market, and get what we want out of the deal. So you guys did a 1 year, 0 down, 0% seller finance deal, principal only payments. And the seller is allowing you to have that for a year, which allows you guys to go and fix and flip it. So when did you guys close on this deal?
I think about 2 months ago. So
Okay, so 2 months. Why do you need a year?
we really don't. We just figured, obviously times are changing, the market's changing. We wanted to give ourselves some extra room. But we told them, most likely you're going to be cashed out within 6 months, but we just like to give ourselves that extra time just in case, we don't want to put either one of us in a situation where we can't pay you or, it's just not enough time. So we asked
I love that because so many other people, Brittany, so many other people would have under delivered and overpromised. You did the opposite. You're like, maybe it'll be 6 months. We plan on 6 months, but it could be worse. And you put yourself in a comfortable situation where you guys can go take your time. You can do the right thing. And if the market does shift in a big way, you guys can also figure out how do we get them paid out through maybe another wholesale deal or another fix and flip, but we keep this deal, and we put in the portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
What was the purchase price on the house?
$53,000.
How can you buy a house for 53 G's?
You got to come to Pittsburgh,
Yeah.
$53,000. What is the potential exit on this deal? What could you sell it for when you're all said and done?
We're planning to list it for around $150,000.
Oh my gosh. I was like, as you're saying that, and then as I'm asking the question, I go, they're probably going to be like $125. There's no way you're going to buy something 30 cents on the, you bought this for 30 cents on the dollar with seller finance, with no money down and 0% interest, which is amazing. So over the next year, you'll have paid down about $5,000 on the principal. So you'll still owe them 48 grand. You guys go exit for 150. What do you think the renovation is going to cost you guys?
All in, we're probably going to be about $50,000 with holding costs.
Love it. Okay, so holding that's including their payments. Are you guys raising capital from partners to come in and pay for the renovation, or are you paying for the renovation yourself?
So sometimes we do raise capital, but this one just kind of made more sense. We have a few line of credits that we use for renovations and cash purchases, and we're just going to be using that for this deal.
I love it. Okay, cool. So you're using essentially somebody else's money. You're using the bank's money. Obviously, that's tied to your credit, but that's not your money. You're borrowing that money to pay for the renovation. So you're essentially no money out of your pocket to do this deal. You'll probably end up netting like $35,000 to $40,000 on this deal in a 6-month time frame.
Yeah.
Is this like a typical thing you can do in Pittsburgh area? 53,000 to a 150 exit?
It's pretty close in the right areas.
Yeah.
For sure.
I would say too, we spend a lot of time talking with our sellers. We're more quantity or quality versus quantity. And when you sit down and let people get to know you and your business, like we take our kids with us to walkthroughs, we tell them we're trying to find a win-win scenario for everyone. So if what we're offering doesn't make sense for you, like that's okay. We want it to make sense for you. And I think that that's what helps us to get the really good deals that we do is because we take our time and really, get to know people, find the buddies.
I miss those days. There was just something so beautiful about doing that, taking Asher, my kids on appointments, and I'll still do it every once in a while, maybe once or twice a year. I'll go on one of our community members' appointments that ask me, like Caroline will call me or somebody will call me in Arizona and go, hey, can you go on this appointment? I'm like, yes, please let me go. I wrote a couple of things down that I really love that you said. You said, we do it the old fashioned way. Yeah, I love that because that is the way that you win, right? Everybody else is trying to do AI and digital this and let's do a Zoom and let's do whatever. Meanwhile, you're going down to people's house, sitting down at their kitchen table where they feed their family. You're connecting with them. You're bringing your family with you, showing them, hey, we're just a family just like you, trying to help you. We have some tools that you don't have. And so obviously we're going to put those tools at risk and we're going to put our time and energy at risk to take this on. But if this seller would have just taken a cash offer from somebody else, they probably would have gotten a lower number. So you were able to give them a higher number, still benefit yourself, and then show them, hey, we're a real family. We're not some big corporation coming in here and trying to gobble up all these houses. The old fashioned way is the best way possible. The biggest challenge is, do you stay there for a couple of years? Do you stay there forever? Do you say, hey, in a couple of years, we're going to go and start building a big team and go at a higher level? Because at some point, if you go that path, doesn't mean that the one path is better than the other. It's just a different path. You know, it's like, I like green Skittles. Somebody else likes yellow Skittles. Neither one, they both taste hella good. Like both flavors are amazing Skittles, right? But I think the trap a lot of times is, how can I be Pace and build this massive empire? Meanwhile, I can tell you the happiest I ever was in my real estate business was in the phase that you guys are in right now.
Mm-hmm.
I never got happier. What I do miss is I miss those appointments with those sellers, and I miss sitting down with people. Now my acquisition team communicates with them, contracts with them, does all these things. And there's some other beauty to that. Now I spend more time really benefiting my employees and giving them opportunities to build their families, et cetera. So there's a trade-off there. So my question to you is, do you feel like that is where you'll hover and spend time for a couple of years? Or is there a motivation to say, we want to go build a big team?
I think we go back and forth, but I think at the end of the day, I don't think we really want a big team. We want to be able, like, the whole point that we got into this is so that we can spend more time with our family, we can travel, and we can do the things that we want to do. And I think that we're trying to find a happy medium, but I don't necessarily think for us growing some huge team and all of this is really what we're looking to do.
I love that answer. And here's why I love the answer. Because think about if you did 3 of these a year. That's it, right? 3 of these a year. You're making an extra $100,000 a year. $100,000 a year just by doing this 3 times in a year. You don't have to have 8 deals a month, 12 deals a month. You do 3 of these and you supplement your income, and you go, hey, this is our travel money. This is our, education money. This is our investment money. We're going to put this into a rental. We're going to do whatever. You guys don't have the simplicity of life. And the reason why you got into the business is the same reason I got into the business. And I was having a podcast with somebody the other day. They go, are you more happy today with all the things that you have going on, or were you happier when things were more simple? And I said, always way more simple. When things were more simple and there was nothing else to focus on but my family and other people's family, I was in my most joyous state. So if that's the case, if you're going to stay in that position, which is awesome, by the way, I love that answer. I was hoping you were going to say that. If you stay in that position, what is the goal on a yearly basis? Is it, we want to make 150,000, we want to make 200,000, we want to make 50,000, we just want to make an extra $4,000 a month? What is your guys' 2024 goal as a family?
We haven't sat down and done that yet. We usually do that New Year's Day, but I would say, so we mainly focus on rentals. This is actually our first true fix and flip. We've kind of wholesaled a couple houses, but we've never really gone and renovated and sold one. So, Sean and I actually both do this full time as of 2023. I left my nursing job in 2021, and he left.
I left the elevator constructors union, and we just took it head on.
Yeah.
Our goal for 23 was 23 doors in 23. Currently, we're at 16 with
holy shit
about a month to go. So we're hoping to get a couple more. We have one that's going to close hopefully next week.
Yeah.
It'll also be our next flip once we get everything moving.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So your main focus is my main focus, which is, I'll do the occasional fix and flip. I'll do the occasional wholesale deal, but I really want to acquire rentals. You guys acquired 16 this year?
16 deals total. So between assignment fees or hotels and rentals that we kept ourselves.
Gosh, I love that, because what ends up happening is you keep all the money yourself rather than when you go build a big team, what ends up happening is 40, 50, 7. There was a point where we were really inefficient in our business, and we were spending 70% of our revenue was going back into marketing and acquisition people. And it got to a point where if we didn't get 8 deals in a month, we couldn't make money.
Mm-hmm.
That's a horrible position to be in.
Yeah. Sometimes a bigger team the smaller team does more than having all these people. Because when you have more people, then you run into more problems and more things, and it's just.
You guys are in the sweet spot.
Yeah.
You're in the sweet spot. So next year, if your goal this year was to do 23, 24, that was the goal, was 23 deals.
Mhm.
So is the goal now 24 and 24?
Yeah. So we want to grow back to your original question, we want to grow our portfolio to where the rentals solely cover all of our monthly expenses. So we'd like to do 1 or 2 either flips or wholesales a quarter to sort of live on, I guess you would say. And then the rentals, as we do that, we build the rental portfolio, and eventually that will hopefully sustain. So we're not having to deal with the stress of flips and wholesales and all that. So I don't know what this year is yet.
I love this, because think about all the married couples that are out there. They don't have the bravery and the courage to quit their jobs. One, you quit yours in 2021. That's probably when you had your daughter.
No, it was a couple years after, actually. I was working at Stillwater. I had her just part-time, and he was working full-time.
Okay, got it. But now you guys get to spend all day long with your kid,
Mm-hmm.
which is great. So you spend all day long with your family, which is awesome. They get to be part of the business, which is, you are giving them the greatest education of all time.
Mm-hmm.
There's other couples that just don't get this. They're spending all of their children's lives working at their 9-to-5 jobs. You guys get to be around your kids. You get to be around your family all day, every day. They get to go on job sites with you. They go on drives with you. They go on appointments with you. They are getting a multi-million dollar education of what does real estate really look like, the old fashioned way, which I think is the dominant way to be in real estate. And then they also get to learn, hey, our product, like somebody that has a family that starts a bodega or like a deli or something, ends up starting a deli because that's what they know, right? Your kids are going to start doing rentals and property management companies and fix and flips, because they're like, well, that's how you make money in this world, right? Whereas everybody else is like, how do I learn how to do the thing and read the book and do the thing and then potentially, hopefully get into it? You are giving them the greatest opportunity that you as parents could give them, which is awesome. So if I'm a married couple, I probably want to have a married couple friend as you guys. So Sean and Brittany, your guys' Instagrams, and we'll make sure that we pop them on the screen so people can get them. Here's what I would do. I would DM them, especially if you have opportunities, especially if you have money. One of the best ways to get into real estate is to lend money on somebody else's piece of real estate. So as Sean and Brittany are doing a fix and flip right now on the 0 down, 0% interest deal, they pulled money off their line of credit, okay, which is great. But that line of credit gets tapped out. They might have too many projects going on. So if I were you and I'm listening in the audience, I would DM them and go, how can I lend money on one of your future projects so I can learn how you're doing this stuff and I can be involved and have a relationship where I bring value to the table rather than just hit you up for a cup of coffee. Don't hit people up for a cup of coffee. Bring them either a lead, an opportunity, a question about a lead that you have, or bring them private money. And I would start by DMing Brittany because she's way more responsive than Sean is.
She is. That's for a fact.
I am, yes. Please DM me. I talk to a lot of new investors. I always am open to giving advice, and I do talk with a lot of Sub 2 students as well about doing deals like this together where they want to be involved, and I say, hey, if you're going to lend me money, I'll talk you through the whole deal. I'll show you how I negotiate things, and it's worked really well.
Thank you for coming on the channel. I hope a lot of people reach out to you. I hope a lot of people want to get involved in your business by bringing money and opportunities to you guys. Thank you for being amazing leaders in our community. Thank you for being so amazing. Brittany, you're amazing. Like truly just so great. I see people will DM me about you and just say, she helped me. She answered a question for me. She did a thing. So your leadership is showing up. And I just wanted to say thank you for that. And Sean, bro, congrats, dude. Like congrats on quitting your job. Congrats on going all in. Congrats on you guys both diving in together and being such a unified couple. It's impressive to watch. And the fact that you guys are on the same page together, it's a proud moment for me to be able to watch you guys just leading and being badasses. So thank you guys so much.
Thanks for having us.
Wouldn't do it any other way.